right, here we go. Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
All right, guys. Showtime.
Hey, guys. Showtime.
All right, showtime.
All right, showtime.
Hey, showtime.
Showtime, kid.
Let's bring it in. It's showtime, right?
It's showtime. Let's kick some ass.
Ed Berliner, the fastest show in sports.
Greetings, true believers. Welcome into the fastest show in sports. I am Ed Berliner. I am your ringmaster. The gentleman to my left, wait a minute. I got to get this all right here. On your screen, to my left, to my right. Oh, screw it. The guy sitting next to me with the hat on backwards, that's Kevin Winter, former ESPN radio voice. And we are here today, and we are the ones to face facts today. Mike Wise is the guy who's on assignment this time. That's what I said last week, by the way. You were on assignment. It's great to say. It's just one of those beautiful things in broadcasting where you can just say, I'm sorry, but Ed Berliner's on assignment today. Bullshit. Yes. He's out at Universal Studios, and he's riding Hagrid's Wild Ride.
Whatever it is. Who was the first network anchor to say so-and-so's on assignment? And everyone went, ooh, I like that. Ooh, I like that. I mean, because that sounds like a Dan Rather, Peter Jennings, or Tom Brokaw when I was growing up, which would have been for you, Walter Cronkite.
Well, now, hey, look, Walter Cronkite was, but I was a kid when Walter Cronkite was there. Don't be making me any older than I already am, okay? But the one that gets me these days is not on assignment. That's kind of gone away. The one that gets me now is on, and they're doing this on ABC and NBC because I watch the network nightly news. I watch them all, and I kind of figure out which one and get the news in different. They now say, as we come on the air. Well, no shit, Sherlock. As we come on the air, this is happening. It's got to be one of the biggest wastes of space. I'm going, what do you mean? Of course you're on the air. So that's like,
I get it.
That goes right after breaking news. All right, let's get to it. You got the lead off.
I was going to say, are we just stalling the fact that we both have to address the Knicks are up 3-1 and are going to win this series?
Wait a minute. Hang on. It's your run. I'm not stalling at all, man. It's about a minute right on top, so go for it.
This sucks. Let's get that out of the way. And because two things. I find the parallels to the 2008, 2009, 2010 championship run of the Celtics, which is only 1 year, 2 finals appearances, and a second round exit. Very similar right now, although I'm not sure of a 2025 championship run to the finals because you may not have Tatum. That looked like an Achilles, ruptured Achilles last night.
And by the way, as we're taping this, we really don't know what the outcome is. If we find out while we're on the air, we'll talk about it.
Great. But right, it looked bad.
Yes.
I'll say one thing about this Knicks team. Let's focus on the Celtics for a moment. The offensive rebounding in this series, Ed, has killed them. Killed them. The amount of second chance opportunities for the Knicks, and when you get second chance opportunities, they're usually 3-point shots, which are usually momentum starters or momentum breakers if the Celtics were on a run. The Knicks' size is killing the Celtics. I don't think Boston's defense is at the level that it was a year ago, which was first in the league. And I also don't think the Celtics 3-point shooting is as consistent as it was. It's either here. Hang on, I'm going to get the hand on the screen. Here we go. It's either here or it's here.
Way higher, way low.
Down, right? It's not as consistent as a year ago. I think the Knicks are a more desperate team.
But, okay, Knicks are more desperate. You mentioned the size issue, but this is still the defending champions of the NBA, the Boston Celtics. Yep. It's not as if they went from last season to this season and lost a tremendous amount. It's not as if everybody was saying that they're coming into the new season and this is a lesser team that won the championship last year. So that still brings up the question that I always ask. Why are they in a 3-1 hole? If they still were good, are the Knicks just that better? Are the Celtics screwing up? Is there something here? Because there's got to be something here as to why they're down 3-1 in this series. Something simple.
It is. And I'm trying to... I think I know the answer. It's coaching. Joe Mazzulla's coaching philosophy a year ago worked. It's not working this year because the guys aren't making shots.
But why
Again,
aren't they making shots?
Because they're taking bad shots at times.
Okay.
The Celtics, if you watch last night in the second half, and we're taping this on a Tuesday, so this would have been coming out of Game 4 Monday at Madison Square Garden. In the first half, Boston is here, Ed. Ready? Ball movement, open three, shot. And Richard Jefferson and Doris Burke were lauding it on the ESPN broadcast. In the second half, it gets a little more stagnant, does the offense. They go into the one-on-one isolation game. And when they do that, that is when the Celtics offense becomes troublesome. They take too many ISO threes. And those are not the high percentage threes. The high percentage threes are the wide open shots. How does that translate to Joe Mazzulla? I don't even know if he has any offense, Ed. Like, I'm dead serious. I'm not sure how many players, how many teams in the NBA run offenses, how many sets they have, or is it just go? And I've heard that from different people, not just about Mazzulla. In the NBA, it's just you've got your sets. You have a couple of plays, especially coming out of timeouts and stuff. But most offenses are similar. Run a high screen and roll, try to get the best matchup. You hunt matchups, and away you go.
But if all the offenses are similar, then you still have to have the players that are able to execute a similar offense. The Celtics had players last year who could execute that offense to the form of winning an NBA championship. So why all of a sudden have they gone icebox?
Jaylen Brown's not having a good series.
Okay, now we're getting down to it because it is still a human game, and if you have one guy who is big in your plan who starts to falter, then you've got to make up for that, and then that changes the dynamic entirely.
So let's go here. I think Kristaps Porzingis is not healthy. Problem. I think Jaylen Brown is not healthy and thus is not having a good series. Problem. I'm not blaming injuries. I'm stating fact. A year ago when the Celtics bludgeoned everyone on their way to an NBA title, when they lost 2 games. 2 games did the Celtics lose en route to an NBA championship last year. They lost 1 in round 1, and they lost 1 they lost 3 games. 1 to the Heat, 1 to the Cavs, 1 to the Mavericks. That's it, right? They bludgeoned everyone. They were healthy, Ed. They were the healthiest team in the NBA. If you have that, you're going to be successful.
Which then leads us to believe that the Knicks are healthy. The Knicks.
Great, I do. Yeah,
I got to give Wise a lot of credit when he was talking about this here on the show. He mentioned Jalen Brunson a couple of dozen times, and you also kicked in on that when we talked about it. Brunson has been amazing, and I got to. And I'm not the dyed-in-the-wool NBA guy, but watching this kid play, I'm thinking to myself, this is a star.
Yep, he is. He's a star. He's got that it/hunger factor of a kid who's never won anything. And I know he won a championship at Villanova, but I'm talking on the NBA level. You got guys who have always fought for respect and fought for that next level. He's that guy who has to keep fighting. It was never handed to him. 2nd round pick. I think he's the 33rd overall pick in the NBA draft. Whenever he came out of Villanova, you're not expecting anything. You could get a cut contract at that time. You could get shipped. Who the hell knows? And he's turned himself into one of the faces of the league, in part because if you succeed in New York and you play at that level, and then you have, by the way, I love the fact, I had never even heard, was this the first year? I don't even know if you know. Is this the first year the NBA gave out the Clutch Player of the Year award? Because what the hell is that, and where did it come from? It seems like they made up an award for Jalen Brunson.
They did make up an award. All these awards are made up. All you have to do is put a sponsor on top of an award. Bang, you got an award because somebody's paying for it.
Exactly. So it seems like I mean, why don't you just call it the Jalen Brunson Award? And that's what it seems like. But look, he's good, and in this series, in the second half, he has made the plays. And the Celtics players have not. They have not made the shots. Brunson has made it look easy. Boston has made it look hard. And for that matter, Boston's in a 3-1 hole. And they may have lost their superstar for not just the rest of this season, but also next year. And that's what's going to suck.
Now, do you want me to guarantee the New York Knicks will lose this series? Would you like that? Would you like me to guarantee that the Knicks lose this series?
Go ahead, but it's impossible, I think.
No, wait a minute. It's not impossible.
Okay.
This is how it goes. I am the guy who has already told people, please, for God's sake, do not wager on anything I give you, because I am the jinx from hell. No doubt, I'm willing to admit it. I own it. So I am going to state here without question, undoubtedly, irrefutably, without a single notion whatsoever to the negative, that the New York Knicks will win the series against the Boston Celtics. Guaranteed, gotta happen, they're gonna win. Now, if you follow me, you know exactly what to do. Run. I mean, just like Winter's doing right now. Run to your nearest gambling parlor and place everything you got on the Celtics.
I'm running to the gambling parlor. Yes, hang on. I'm actually curious about this. I'm curious about this series. I have a philosophy on this to back your play for a moment.
Oh, God.
By the way, Celtics are now like the seventh betting favorite to win the title. So that dropped dramatically. They're 25-1 after being the New York-Boston series. Celtics plus 400, Knicks minus 600. So if you want to bet the Celtics, bet 100 to win 400.
Bet the Celtics right now in Game 5. Bet the Celtics. Celtics absolutely, positively will lose this series. Okay, good. Good. I got it.
All right.
I had to follow forward.
Let's say this. In sports, I call this the backup quarterback syndrome. I want you to watch during this NFL season, and if we're still together doing these, I'm going to remind you. When the backup quarterback has to start a game because the starting quarterback is injured, watch how many times a team not just covers because they're going to be large dogs, not just covers, but wins the game outright with their backup quarterback in game one. In game one, it will work. So why do you ask that? What you'd say? Why does it happen?
Okay, because I think it's kind of obvious, but go ahead.
The other players elevate themselves around the backup quarterback. We know we've got our B guy in today. We need to elevate our game and be better. Also, the other team says, we're fine. It's Jacoby Brissett playing today, not Drake May. We're good. And there's the letdown factor.
Right.
Now,
I think it's more the letdown factor than the other side, but that's okay.
I think it's both, but hang on. So let's go here. How does this work for Game 5? Well, the Celtics are going home, and they still have a team that is loaded with talent. And they're going to have all that team rise to the occasion. Some player for Boston is going to have to rise to the occasion. They win that one. They can go on the road to Game 6 in Madison Square Garden. If you get that one there, then all the pressure is back on the Knicks. And can the Knicks win Game 7?
Well,
I know. That's the long way about this.
It's the long way about it, but it's the proper way about it.
It is.
The way of thinking.
You have to go one game at a time. Hang on. Here, Ed, I want to throw something else at you, too.
Go ahead.
If they get to a Game 7, actually, I don't even know if they have to get there. However long the Celtics are playing for this season without Jason Tatum is going to be a referendum on Jaylen Brown. Because I want you to remember 2 years ago, when Jason Tatum went out of Game 7, the Boston Celtics were down 3-0 to the Miami Heat in the conference finals. They rallied to force Game 7. Jason Tatum goes down with the ankle injury in the first play of Game 7. So you say, okay, Jaylen Brown, it's on you. And Jaylen Brown shipped the bed badly.
Fair.
He had it coming down his legs, and he even said it after the game. This series.
Can you do us all a favor, Kevin, and not be quite as graphic in the whole shit to bed? Because all of a sudden you're making me think about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. submerging himself in a creek in Washington, D.C. that is filled with human effluent. I mean, you've
Anyway.
you've kind of drifted. So please don't do that, please.
Okay, I got you. Just making sure we get the right clip for the internet. Tag RFK.
Tag RFK, exactly.
Tag RFK, right? Just let him know.
Hashtag RFK, hashtag RFK excrement. Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah. This is a referendum on Jaylen Brown. However long the Celtics have a stay of execution here, it's a referendum on Jaylen Brown. I know you were the NBA MVP, NBA Finals MVP a year ago. Can you carry this team now without Jason Tatum? Can you make up for the Game 7 from a year ago? I know you're hurt, but you're not as hurt as that guy, because right now that guy may not have an ankle that's attached, or may not have an Achilles that's attached. Not as hurt as that guy. So I think it's going to be a big referendum on him. Whatever's left.
Stay with the NBA here, because I got to tell you, the one thing I love every single time it happens in sports, and it happens more outside of sports than anything else these days, thanks to certain people, where they go, something was rigged. It was rigged. It was fixed. This whole absolute nonsensical, incredible, outside the box bullshit about how the NBA draft lottery is fixed. Kids, try this on for size. This stuff doesn't get fixed. You know why? Because if somebody were to find out, and if it is fixed, let's just say for giggles and grins that the NBA fixed the draft lottery, that means you've got at least 3 people who've got to know it, maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe 20 have got to be in here. And they know that it's being fixed. You can't just keep it down to one person. One person doesn't do it, and all of a sudden everything happens. If it's fixed, that means there's more people in on the gag. If that happens, more people have a tendency to talk, to bullshit, to say things, to get out there, to source it, whatever. You'd find out. You can't not find out, especially in this social media world where everything is out there. Somebody's desperate to say something. Somebody will say something in a bar when they're half lit just to go ahead and make a note about it, and then you got it. It's not fixed.
Wait, so the Dallas Mavericks won the draft lottery fair and square? They won it fair and square? The Dallas Mavericks won it? Okay. The New Orleans Pelicans, the year the New Orleans Pelicans trade Anthony Davis, that summer, the Pelicans get Zion Williamson fair and square?
Yes.
The Knicks in 85 get Patrick Ewing fair and square?
Yes. Here, Kevin, let's try this on for size. Shit happens, okay? Odds are won sometimes. Sometimes you get long odds, and they do pay off. But my point is not that it's not that it was fair, because people are going to scream that it's not fair, whatever. Look, I get all that. Look, it's sports. There's nothing with fair here. It happens, it happens. No. You cannot fix it. You would find out. It's impossible not to know. And what you're talking about is even ancient history at this point, if it's more than a year old, which means sooner or later somebody's going to say something. And not only that, why would anybody in a position of authority in the NBA or any sport, but let's keep it to the NBA for the draft lottery here, why would anybody take that chance? Because the instant that it's found out that someone in the NBA front office was involved, had knowledge of, did anything that would fix something, the game's blown. The league is blown. Sponsors are bailing out. People are stopping to go. Money is no longer going to be spent. Right. It doesn't make any sense. Let it ride, make the money, take the chance, let everybody sit here and just wonder about if it's fixed, because it's not. But nobody's going to do it. There's no payoff to fix anything. The single payoff you would get, and by the way, if you're going to go to the New Orleans Pelicans, how's that worked out for them? How many championships have they won after the fix?
I agree. And so this more goes to, and because Ed and I had a text chain last night to take everyone behind the scenes, because so I get back from my nephew's baseball game, and all of a sudden the draft lottery's on, and I look up and I hear that the Dallas Mavericks have the number 1 pick. By the way, the Spurs were second. I don't even know if they had the second worst odds. I couldn't remember. That's what happens when you're out of the game at ESPN, when they say, "Good luck, Kevin. We're not renewing your contract." I stopped paying attention to the shit that I have to follow. Right?
Good for you.
Thank you. So this is more now the entertaining purposes. I have no idea. I'm thinking, okay, the Spurs could get Cooper and also have Victor Wembanyama the year after Pop retires. And then you have Dallas, and all you think of is Dallas trades Luka, gets absolutely crucified in their own city, and there the Dallas Mavericks are with the worst odds to get the number 1 overall pick, and they're going to win the Cooper Flagg sweepstakes.
And they get it.
And they get it. Back to your point. So and now what Ed and here's why I wanted to take everyone behind the scenes, because Ed and I were talking, and what was your response when I said Dallas wins Cooper Flagg? How did you respond to me?
I think I said he'll be a bust.
Yeah. Now,
I was just throwing it out there for giggles.
Sure, but hang on.
I have no idea if the kid's going to be a bust, and nobody has any idea if he's going to be the next superstar.
No, agree. And this goes to your Zion Williamson point. We thought Zion Williamson was going to be the next LeBron James.
Yes.
Zion Williamson can't stay healthy. He can't be in shape. He's probably, aside from the Giannis talk, which, by the way, I called on this podcast about a month ago, that would be the most popular talked about thing in this offseason. And by the way, hang on, ESPN, can you stop acting like it came out of nowhere? We all knew this was coming, please. Can you stop? Oh, my God, Giannis wants out. No shit. Please, can you stop with that crap? I hated it when I was there, and I hate it now. Anyway,
they've been dogging on this Giannis thing now for about 2 seasons.
100%.
At least.
So, after Giannis, the next biggest talking point this offseason is probably going to be about Zion Williamson, because I believe he is next on the trade block. So, to your point, we don't know what Cooper Flagg will be. He could be anywhere from Victor Wembanyama, who looks like he's the next face of the league, and a walking double-double. And by the way, the doubles could be blocks and rebounds. Who the hell knows, right?
Yeah, good point.
He's that good. Or Cooper could be a bust. He could be Michael Olowokandi. I doubt he's going to be the latter. Not going to be the Candyman, but you never know. And
the thing that always catches me, though, is when somebody like Cooper Flagg comes along and people are already calling him the phenom. This kid can't miss. Yes, I know it. He's got all these awards. He won a truckload of awards after taking Duke deep into the playoffs, where they lost, as a matter of fact, of course. But to this point, calling him a phenom, go ahead. Get along with it. It's fine. The kid's shown that he has some incredible talent. But people are anointing him as the next great player. My point is, what used to happen? Boy, here we go. We're going to go way back. Join us now as Mr. Peabody and Sherman join us in the Wayback Machine for a couple of minutes, when actual college players used to have to play in college for more than 1 season.
Right.
You had them playing 2 seasons, maybe 3 seasons. On the odd point, maybe 4. It toughened them up. It made them better players. It had them in the rigors of college basketball. Now you play 1 season in college basketball. You don't necessarily get the toughness that you used to be able to get. You walk into the NBA where the toughness and the speed is 10 times more than college basketball. And I think a lot of these kids, a lot of these so-called phenoms, have a greater chance to fail anymore because they're simply not mentally or physically ready for the rigors that the NBA wants. How many times have we seen young guys go into the NBA and they just don't pan out? They're not ready for it. And it's not only physical, Kevin, it's the mental side of the game.
Right.
Because being in college for 1 season and then getting into the NBA, holy crap in the morning. I mean, you are talking about a nuclear change for what your game is. And if the kid's not ready, if he's not mentally prepared, if he's not mentally able, plus has the physical tools to do it, you get burned out awful fast. So I think it's wrong to call somebody like this a phenom and start playing this. He's going to be the next greatest thing in basketball. You don't know, and I don't know.
Here's the thing with Cooper Flagg. You're right, we don't. But we've seen a shot of a moment in time of it. And this is where Cooper came on, and the moment in time has nothing to do with college. 2 years ago, when the NBA players, or whatever the NBA players went to the Olympics, so that would have been actually last summer. Last summer, the NBA players go to the Olympics, and they win the gold. The lead up to that, after the season, you have the NBA players playing against that select college team, the same select college team that beat the Dream Team in '92 that no one ever knows about anymore because Mike Krzyzewski erased Chuck Daly erased the score. Right, but that HBO documentary is awesome. By the way, it's incredible. Cooper Flagg was on that select team. he hadn't even played a game in college yet. He was on that select team. He hadn't played a game in college, and he held his own.
Yep.
He didn't dominate. He held his own against LeBron, KD, whatever the team was together, running, and Steph. Like, he held his own with them. So if you do that, everyone goes, whoa, okay.
Because that's an anomaly. Most kids at that young age won't be able to handle that. So I will give you the fact that Cooper Flagg could be one of those unique individuals that is able to mentally and physically handle the step up.
Here's also where I'm going to say it's going to help Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg's going into a situation where, all right, it sucks that there's no Kyrie Irving next year because he tore his ACL, but you're going to play alongside Anthony Davis. It's not a bad partner to play with, right? They've got some players. You have Klay Thompson on that team. Cooper's not going into a situation. The beauty of some teams that just absolutely stink, the hard part, I should say, for teams that absolutely stink is you're then, as the number one draft pick, you're expected to be the savior. Cooper doesn't have to be the savior. On that team that he will play with when it becomes whole in a couple of years is a former All-Pro in Kyrie Irving, a former All-NBA player in Anthony Davis, and a former All-NBA player in Klay Thompson. That's a good situation for the kid to be in. So by the time those three are done, Cooper is ready to take the reins of going, guys, thanks for showing me everything. I got this now.
You are forgetting one simple aspect to all this. And I know you're not forgetting it. You're just kind of glossing over it for the moment here. Yeah. Do the Dallas Mavericks keep the pick? Do they keep Cooper Flagg? Or
they send it for Giannis.
There's a great discussion out there right now that has them taking it and winning now. Because you just mentioned three elements that the Mavericks have that mean they have the possibility of winning. You put a great rookie in it, and that could be it. But if you take a Cooper Flagg and you box that up and you bring somebody else in with four great players, you win now and everybody makes money. That's more important in the game than long-term planning, and we both know it.
Fair. That's fair. So Cooper could go to a bad situation.
Sure.
Think about Christian Laettner.
I'd rather not, but go ahead.
I know. Christian Laettner went to a very bad Minnesota Timberwolves team when he came out in '92. Shaq goes to the Orlando Magic. And look, they also showed the difference between Shaq and Laettner. Laettner goes to the Timberwolves and smokes pot and gets suspended. Shaq goes on and becomes one of the best players in the history of the game. Laettner was in a bad situation. And that's where going to a bad situation doesn't help a young player. So if Cooper Flagg can go to Dallas, if Dallas keeps the pick, great spot for him. If he goes to San Antonio, great spot for him. If he goes to Milwaukee, it could be dicey because if Cooper goes to Milwaukee, the Bucks could quickly become the Philadelphia 76ers of how badly they're going to fall. Because Philadelphia is shrinking. Well, and they stink.
And then what we're bringing up here is the basic element of what happens in drafts at any level. It's not where you get picked. It's whom you get picked by, who the coach is, who the surrounding players are, how good you can be, how much you have to be counted on, what kind of number in the offense or the defense you're expected to undertake at that point in your rookie season. It's all about, and I hate to say this, and I'm just going to make this very quickly. I go back again to the 7-quarterback draft in the National Football League where Dan Marino fell to the last quarterback picked. Had he been picked by anybody else except for Don Shula, he may never have gotten to the Hall of Fame simply because of how badly he could have been handled by some of the other coaches. Did he win a Super Bowl? No. But he became one of the legendary players in the NFL because he had Shula. He also lost in the Super Bowl and never made it back to the Super Bowl because of Don Shula. And I can say that because I was friends with Shoes for many years. But it still is where you wind up. So if I'm Cooper Flagg right now, I'm going, oh, holy crap, please don't trade me. Oh, God.
I know. Yep.
Please don't trade me.
I'm with you.
But the possibility exists. And that means he may never become the player that he could be. That's all circumstance. Yes?
I agree. I agree. And I'm pulling up real quick. I'm trying to pull up the draft. I'm trying to pull up the draft order. But anyway, I was going to look at the teams and go down the list, but that's probably not a good idea.
Well, he might wind up going to the Chicago Bulls only because the Pope will arrange it, but that's another story altogether.
Hey, by the way, the Pope went to Villanova, so I told you, start betting the Knicks.
Well, here
the Villanova connection. So
I gotta stop because we're opening up the can of worms. Just got exploded all of a sudden here.
Oh, it just exploded.
And because of all this, I just want to let me say this. Like I got to get this out. People, God doesn't care who wins a game. He, she, it, Harry Thunderer, Cosmic Muffin, whatever it may be, doesn't care. Isn't rooting for the Bulls. Isn't rooting for the Knicks. Isn't rooting for the Bears right now. Stop it!
For the White Sox, the Cubs from Chicago. From Chicago. Everyone in Chicago asked, we just need to know who he's a fan of.
And I was, and the whole thing when the Pope got selected, I even went out there and I said, and I put this up on social media, everybody's wondering, who does he root for, the Cubs or the White Sox?
Yeah.
And I got bombarded by people who came in and said, oh, everybody knows it's the Cubs. He roots for the Cubs. He's a big Cubs fan. No, he's not.
No.
In working with someone who takes care of the downtrodden, the poor, and the people who have no hope whatsoever, he's a White Sox fan. Which fitted perfectly. He helps the downtrodden people of the world. He's a White Sox fan.
He's a White Sox fan.
But please.
He's a White Sox fan.
God doesn't care who wins a championship.
Nope.
He doesn't. Nope. He as I said, and I always like this gets him upset more than anything else when I say this. He, she, or it. Boom. As soon as you say that, I got people somewhere who are giving me all kinds of grief right away. They're going, how dare you say that? But I'm just saying, he, she, or it doesn't care, isn't rooting. I
tell those same people I haven't talked to God since 2003?
Notice how everybody gets God when you're real close to a championship or you're real close to winning. I want to thank God for helping us win the championship. Nope. God doesn't care.
He doesn't care.
God's out there working on God's working on a galaxy somewhere way out in here. God's working on something else, and God's working on. Oh, for God's sake, really? Oh, they're saying that I'm not a fan. Yeah. Leave me alone. I got work to do.
Yep. All right.
Anyway.
There's our NBA. Did I get you to talk NBA for another half hour again? That's like multiple shows in a row now.
No, you can't. Because now.
No, I said, did I? Did I get you to talk NBA for a half hour?
Yeah, you did. But my whole point about talking the NBA is I hate, and this isn't just the NBA for me. I hate talking X's and O's. I would rather talk issues and things that are involved in that.
There are plenty. Yeah.
Because every nickel and dimer in the world can sit there and can look at a sheet and say, she's got more points than she does. He's got more rebounds than he does. He scores more, whatever. You can all do that. And it's just an extrapolation that doesn't lead anywhere. It's a nonsensical discussion. So if you have that opportunity to get involved in something like that, in a real controversy, that's more fun to me. So yeah, we can. You can get me to talk the NBA in that sense. Okay. But that's all just fine. We have to move on though to what is, and again, you know this is sticking in my craw, and I even mentioned this to you. All right.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick and the University of North Carolina is one of the best stories of the year. This is fun to watch because in so many ways, the University of North Carolina needs to understand something. Just because you hired Bill Belichick doesn't mean you're going to be relevant in college football ever again. It's not going to happen. Bill's not going to lead you to a national championship. He's there for a season, maybe two, and we got to talk about that possibility of not even being there. He's there to basically have some fun, make some money. You're not going to win a national title. It's not possible. You're not going to get enough good players with all the other great programs that are out there that are paying more in NIL money, that have more athletic department money. And sure, you got a bunch of cash thanks to your basketball program, but your basketball program is what drives the athletic department at North Carolina. Have some fun, enjoy it. But somebody at North Carolina either made one of the greatest marketing moves in the history of sports by bringing Bill in with his diaper changer, or, don't do that, I was waiting for that moment when you were drinking. I was kind of hoping that there would be the full spit right there, and I didn't get it.
That was, woo! I almost became an internet sensation.
You would have. You would have spit right into the camera. It would have been perfect.
Yep.
But you're not. It's not as if you didn't take a chance. You did, and it was a great marketing move, or it was a terrible marketing move. How could anybody in North Carolina have hired Bill Belichick and brought him in and paid him a tremendous amount of money, made him the most highly paid individual in the state of North Carolina, and not know that he's got the woman who pushes his wheelchair right behind him, who's got to go ahead and be there with him and comes with him and gets involved in all this nonsense and creates the big simus that they have right here. You had to know it was going to happen. What? All of a sudden, Bill showed up and said, hey, let me introduce you to Jordan right now. Jordan's going to take care of all the PR. And somebody in the NC athletic department said, oh, we didn't know this. Oh, holy crap. We didn't know this was coming. Of course you knew it was coming. So in essence, this might be nothing more than a well-planned marketing scheme to go ahead and get more attention to North Carolina before Bill bails out. Or it could have just been the greatest screw-up in the history of college sports. Take your pick.
Well, so in this day and age, by the way, good setup. I'm waiting for the part where
you're welcome.
Where you read the story of where you read the story or you read the article where someone says he's not coaching. He's never going to coach a game there.
Well, we're going to get to that. Go ahead.
We'll get to that point in a moment. In today's day and age of college athletics, and I think we touched a lot on this when we were talking about what Deion Sanders did at Colorado. Deion made Colorado relevant.
Yep.
For how long and at what price? Bill has made North Carolina at least a name that gets mentioned again.
Yeah, he hasn't made them relevant yet.
He hasn't made them relevant yet because he hasn't coached the game. They haven't done anything. All Bill has done, Bill has put them into the conversation of let's say particularly you're a defensive player. You're trying to figure out where to go. You're not a number one recruit. You're a 4-star. You're not a 5-star. And you're saying, man, what if I went to North Carolina and I wonder what he was like. Is he still good at the X's and O's? If I can't go to Alabama, LSU, if I can't go to Georgia, if I can't go to Ohio State or Michigan or USC or wherever the hell, right? Or Texas, I can't go there. Shit. Maybe I go to North Carolina. Maybe I check this out. In today's day and age, you're no longer locked in for 4 years. If you go and don't like it, you can bail. You absolutely can bail. And by the way, when I was growing up and when you were in your heyday covering college athletics, I could bail as the student, but I had to sit out a year. No longer do you have to do any of that. So now you've got those rights, okay? So Bill has made them into the conversation. And in today's day and age of where kids are, if you're in the conversation as a school, you're winning.
I don't know if I'd go that far. I don't know if I'd go that far. If you're in the conversation, you're in a conversation, I get that, but you're not necessarily winning. I mean, you just brought it up.
You're ahead of the game.
College athletes right now are one-year players. College athletes are 1 year, one and done. That's how they are right now. They can move anywhere they want. They don't have to hang out. They can make the money. If you go to North Carolina and you're on a 1-year deal under your scenario, which is you can't go anywhere else, or you decide to take a gander on it, can you make a tremendous amount of NIL money at North Carolina? The answer is no. North Carolina is not the place you're going to go and cut $1 million deal to hawk sneakers or some kind of an energy drink until you win. So you're taking the gamble that if you walk in there and North Carolina wins, well, okay, your process and your possibilities then start to expand. But if you don't win under Bill, then it's going to be Belichick came in, took over North Carolina, and they failed. Belichick wasn't ready for college. The players are sitting here right now. The players are going to bail. North Carolina is going to be left again trying to rebuild. It's a vicious cycle right now that there's no guarantees at all.
I agree. I'm look, in the end, I think a lot of this comes down to is it has not gone probably according to the way North Carolina would have liked or at least from the PR standpoint. And this is the interesting part, because if Bill were really in charge, why would he be doing Hard Knocks? Because he fought so viciously to not do Hard Knocks when he was here in New England. He hated the idea.
Yes.
So then all of a sudden, go to North Carolina. We'll do Hard Knocks with the Tar Heels. That's an interesting one. And again, this is Bill trying to recreate his image, because Bill the idea was that Bill could not connect to the younger player, which is what happened up here in New England.
But
Bill
why would he want to recreate an image or create a new image? Why?
Because he needs to get back in the NFL. Ready? I'll tell you. He wants to get back in the NFL because he wants to break Don Shula's record like God knows everything, because he hated what Don Shula said about him after Spygate. Okay. I'm dead friggin' serious.
I'm going to completely agree with you. I know exactly what you're saying. He wants that record and wants to spit on Shula's grave. No doubt about it whatsoever. Yeah. But is going to North Carolina the way to do it? Because you're going to a program, again, as I pointed out, which is not relevant. Now, football, basketball, I got you. But is not relevant in any sense of the conversation right now to a national championship. He goes in there and he wins. It's going to take him at least 2 seasons. Okay, let's play this out. It's going to take him 2 seasons, maybe 3. Okay? How old is Belichick right now? 68?
72? 72?
Okay. 72.
I think 72 or 77.
It's not 77. He's not that old.
No, he's 72. Then he's 72.
Okay, so, and then I look it up while I'm doing this and just back this up, if you will. Because if Belichick goes in there and has to take 3, if he's 72, he's then 75. He's on the cusp of 80 before he then, he's 73 years old right now. So Belichick has to go in and let's say he has to take 3 years to make this program something and put them relevant in the national championship conversation. Yeah. He's then 76.
Yes.
He's then getting down to that age of the 80s. Why would any National Football League franchise, unless you get one that's stupidly desperate, hire a 76-year-old guy to come in and basically have to remake something, and that may take him another 2 or 3 years. So the franchise is going to have to pay for Bill's chance to become the winningest coach in the NFL by basically just giving him a spot to win a few games and then bail. None of it makes any sense.
I agree, Holt. I agree completely. I do. But in the end, there will always be a desperate franchise in the NFL. There always will, because there's always going to be a laughingstock. You mean to tell me if Jacksonville's job didn't come open, Bill Belichick wouldn't go? Like Jacksonville wouldn't offer Bill Belichick?
Yeah, but would Jacksonville go after Bill Belichick at 76 years of age?
I understand what you're saying, but in the end, sometimes this comes back to today's day and age of clicks win, right? Clicks win. Bill gets you clicks. Bill puts you in the conversation again. And look, I hate that narrative, and I hate that I'm espousing that narrative that the clicks win. They do. That's all. It's to a point where like I'm dumbing down the generation that currently exists.
And they've earned it.
They've earned it. Exactly. You've earned that reputation, people, that you're just a dumb society. And you've earned it.
The point then comes to, and I won't argue the point that clicks make money, and clicks is where things are these days. But for a National Football League franchise, we're talking the NFL, potentially, possibly, the most popular sport in the world outside of World Cup soccer in other countries. Clicks, a couple of extra 1,000 clicks, don't translate into ticket sales, don't translate into merchandise sales, don't translate into the things that are really going to make you relevant, that are going to put you in the Super Bowl conversation. It's not enough for them. You got to win to be able to get there. And I mean, we're talking about franchises that are desperate. Even the desperate franchises aren't going to do that because they're still going to go for the younger guy, the younger assistants, the one who in there, the one who can relate to the players. At 76 years of age, Bill Belichick can't relate to the younger players at that point.
I agree. So do you think Bill's tenure is done in the NFL?
I cannot see any scenario where any smart there's
Word.
there's
Keyword.
there's the word
There's the word.
where any smart owner or smart franchise in the NFL would take any chance whatsoever on a Bill Belichick. The game has left him. He's left the game for
He's
whether
left the
it's
game.
his fault or somebody else's fault, and now he's got 2 or 3 years in North Carolina. You're now a college coach, Bill. That's where you're going to wind up.
Okay. All right. So he's in college. So how long is he going to coach in college? Ed? Pablo? Paul Devlin?
Well, wait, let's set this up. Who in the name of pigskin hell is Pablo Torres?
Oh, boy.
And why is this guy all of a sudden Pablo Torre? I need to point out.
Pablo
Who
Torre.
is Pablo Torre, and why do we put any salt whatsoever in what he says? He was wrong. Let's put it this way. He was wrong, first of all, about the instance with Jordan Hudson, because his initial report came out that Hudson had been banned from the UNC athletic facilities. She had been banned from the football field. She could no longer take part in anything at the school. The school came right back and said, wait a minute, that's not exactly true. She's still welcome for the facilities. They soft-pedaled that. So in essence, he was wrong the first time. When a guy named Pablo Torre comes out, and by the way, who is he? What's his bona fides? What's his deep knowledge for decades covering college football, college athletics, the University of North Carolina, or the NFL, or anything?
You're talking to Pablo Torre from ESPN?
Makes him so valuable to know exactly what's going to happen. I don't see it. All of a sudden, one guy comes out and says, look, Pablo Torre is doing what we just talked about. He is out there tossing out clickbait. He could say anything he wants. I can come out and say something, for instance, like, Caitlin Clark is going to play one more season in the WNBA. She's going to retire. With all her money, she's going to become an owner in the WNBA. And as a matter of fact, Caitlin will eschew the WNBA. She'll go to the NBA, and she'll say that women's sports no longer has the kind of cachet that it had. Boom, I can make that statement out there, and somebody could pick it up and say, holy crap, did you hear what Berliner said? It's all bullshit, what I just said. Complete and utter bullshit. And I think Pablo Torre, now we could be wrong, Kev. This guy could have inside information. But there's nothing that indicates he does, that Belichick is going to retire. What we're going to do is we'll find out, what is it, on
Friday?
On Friday. Well, no. His buyout, Belichick's buyout goes from $10 million to $1 million if he
1st.
hits
June
June the 1st. That's a possibility. Yeah. Or, as we're taping this on Tuesday, May the 13th, Bill is going to do a live interview on Good Morning America with Mike Strahan, who, by the way, hated the media when he was in football, made fun of the media, but now he's getting paid for it because he's able to basically become part of the gang. If Belichick comes out, and I'll tell you, that's one thing that's a good point. Why is Belichick doing a live interview?
Great.
Is he setting himself up?
Also, I said, hey, Belichick's also doing a live interview this afternoon at the ACC media availability. Wherever their ACC's doing their media, they have their spring meetings. He's doing a sit down with Christine Williamson. So
he wouldn't do it there. He wouldn't do it there. Too small.
Absolutely not going to do it there. I will say this. So Pablo Torre says, or the where was this article? Was it on? Was it?
It wasn't an article. He was on a podcast.
Okay, so by the way, so it is the Pablo from ESPN. That Pablo Torre, the one who went to MIT and Harvard, who thinks he's exceptionally smart and says big words. I like Pablo. There were times when I need a thesaurus to go through his words because you're talking to the wrong audience, and I think he knows that, but he's smarter. Anyway, he's not the only one who said this. So the moment you remember working up here in Boston, you ever meet a guy named Paul Devlin?
Sure.
Okay. Paul Devlin played baseball at North Carolina. In fact, he was playing baseball at North Carolina the year they filmed Bull Durham. And he was the guy who hit the bull in the movie Bull Durham. They put him in the movie. So it gives you an idea as to who he is. But he also, a very good baseball player, but he also did some stuff up here in Nesson. So he knows the North Carolina program exceptionally well. When Bill Belichick got hired, Devlin put out on Facebook, Bill Belichick will never coach a game. And I'm thinking, why would you do that?
And that was how long ago he said that?
The day that Belichick got hired.
Okay, so again, partially to my point, it's been out there for a while. It's not like what Pablo Torre is saying is all of a sudden some wild, beautiful, undeniable exclusive.
Paul Devlin, who probably is more connected in North Carolina than Pablo Torre is. Just going to throw that one out there, people. He said it right away. And I don't know if it was more of the, why are we doing this as my alum? Like, why is my alma mater doing this? He was questioning it. And he brought up again, why is Bill doing a live interview? It's not his style. He brought up the fact that the buyout drops. So there are some interesting things. Here's my question. What is Bill Belichick's benefit for jumping into the fray for 6 months, to devote 6 months of his life at 73 years old, when God knows however long you have remaining, to going through this mess, to being with Jordan, who I'm still very curious as to how that relationship's working. But we'll leave that one alone. It still is early in the morning as we record this.
She's his PR flack. She's his marketing babe. That's all it is.
Is she good at the job?
So far, I think the jury is out on that.
There you go. Right. So, well, I mean, what's Bill's end game to take the job?
Thank you. That's exact the word I wanted to use here. In this whole scenario of Belichick taking the job at UNC, what is his end game? To continue coaching because he loves the job? Okay, that's possible.
Fair.
To make a lot more money? Okay, that's possible. Not like he's ever going to need any more money or he can spend what he wants right now. To get back to the NFL, as you stated? Very possibly, but I doubt it. Certainly at his age and the time it's going to take him to be there. A gag? A marketing ploy? A PR shtick? Bill wants to become something new? We don't. But again, what is his end game? Because if North Carolina made this decision to hire him and bring him in, then their end game decision, should have been Bill Belichick is one of the most legendary coaches in football, period. We want him to raise the bar on this program, want to make us relevant, and then perhaps even get us in the national championship conversation. That's all fine and well. But if you do that, you've got to be able to say, we know we're going to invest in it, and Bill's going to invest the time. Right. So far, if you look at what Belichick has done, and of course, we're not on the inside. We don't see everything that he's done. Nope. Everything that he's done thus far with this team is PR. And a lot of it is negative PR in that sense. I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't be shocked at all if there's people sitting there at UNC who are going, holy crap, did we screw this up? I mean, could we have done anything worse than to do this? Maybe they're going to tell him to get out. But again, what's his end game? None of it makes logical sense.
So here's my question on that. Why would North Carolina tell him to get out? Because you have just wasted a year. I understand in college, you as the college administrator, you don't give a shit as to how many years you waste because you're still going to bring in money. You've wasted a year. There's no sense of gassing a guy in June. Back to Belichick. Why would he waste 6 months or however many months it has been since he's taken the job?
Fair.
Why would at least to let this work, try for a year. This may, I don't think he's actually had the true college experience yet. The one that drove Nick Saban out of the game, which is, he had to go out and recruit, but a lot of the players were already in-house, right? Because the recruiting process had pretty much been done by the previous staff.
And let's not forget, Nick Saban went to the college, was in college, went to the pros because he wanted to get out of phone and all that, and then went right back to college when he couldn't make the cut in the NFL.
Yeah, when he realized, when he said, I can't, in college you're dealing with boys, young men. In the pros you're dealing with professionals and older men. Older men don't listen to rah, yell, scream. Or let's go,
and
guys,
right now, the rah scream is gone in college athletics anyway. Right now,
it is as well because
it's gone.
Guess who runs the shit in college?
Right,
the players do. And now Bill's about to find out. Also, Bill's about to find out a practice schedule. How many hours can you practice? How long can you do X, Y, and Z? which is why he's got Mike Tannenbaum along for the sorry, not Mike Tannenbaum. His buddy. Yeah, I'll remember his name in a little bit. He used to go on the McAfee show. He used to be with him at the Browns. He's got that guy along. Yeah, we'll get it. We'll figure it out. I can't remember right now. But he brought in a guy who could be the general manager of the program. You know, so there's a reason he's going to have to figure this out. But for him not to coach a game, it doesn't make any sense, right?
None.
It does not
None.
make any sense at all. But then again, this whole PR disaster doesn't make any sense either.
Well,
this is not.
It's a PR disaster for North Carolina, but it's not for Bill. I mean,
Right,
look, at the
that's
end
fair
of the day,
point.
let's just say Bill Belichick does walk away from UNC and doesn't coach a game. People are going to say, well, Bill, you were a mercenary. You just went in there for the money. You took the money, you got $10 million, and you're out. Bill's going to sit
Michael
back in his
Lombardi.
chair and go, okay, what do I care?
Yep.
It'll roll off his back. And if Bill wanted to, and if he could find somebody in the NFL tomorrow to hire him after he leaves UNC, he'd be fine with it. It's not, the damage is not to Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick's too old, too ensconced, got too much going on right now. Nothing will bother him. This goes on UNC. There's people in North Carolina right now who are shaking in their boots because, as you said, they may have just wasted 6 months, which is why I don't think Belichick will leave. I don't think he will just bail out. I think he will stay. He's got to stay because not only that, if he does bail out, then what National Football League team is going to go to him and go, or other college team is going to go,
Yeah.
holy crap, Bill, you just went and you used this team for 6 months. You blew it all up and you walked
that's
away.
It right there. Stay there.
We don't want
Stay
you.
there. Stay there. Stay on that point. That point you just brought up. If he leaves North Carolina without coaching a game, he will never coach in college. Ever. Because colleges don't have that kind of time. Some players.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. They don't have that kind of time. A player will not go there. As much as a college, as much as a program might say, look, we can survive a year, but you're going to lose the kids for that year. You can survive the year, but your program may not be able to. So I'm with you.
Correct.
I'm with you there. By the way, the guy's name is Michael Lombardi, the GM.
Oh, okay.
That's right. So, all right, I'm with you there. What else we got today?
Which then tells me that Bill may have, and again, we're just supposing here. Nobody's sitting on the inside here. He might have miscalculated terribly by figuring, hey, in college, I can go run things a little bit. I can have a little more power. I can still do all this. But instead, thanks to NIL, thanks to the different legislation that's out there, thanks to the way things are changing, you don't. Look, college football right now, more than any other sport, is exactly what the NBA is. The players run the show.
Yep.
Because a player can look you square in the eye at any major college or minor college program can look you in the eye and say, Coach, screw you. I'm out of here. I'm not getting played. I'm leaving. You can't leave. Yes, I can. And I can make it that easy because I don't give a shit about a degree anymore. I don't care. Yeah. I'll go where the money is, and you can't stop me. They can't stop him. Belichick can't stop him. He doesn't have that juice anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
Nobody does.
I agree.
So I don't think he's going anywhere, but still, North Carolina is going to have to pay the freight for this one way or another down the road. And will they become relevant? Hey, I hope so. But right now, you're not relevant at all. Before
by the way, in that email you sent me, for the show notes, thanks for letting me know the WNBA season opens up. Didn't know that.
Kevin Winter, you sexist, you not knowing that the WNBA season begins.
That was my turn. It's my turn now.
It's your turn now. How dare you not know that the WNBA begins on Friday? You just don't like women. You've got something against women.
Oh,
snarl,
I love women.
Snarl, gonna ask.
I love women. I love women. Don't put it on a tee that easily.
I saw that, and the only thing that still comes up in the WNBA conversation lately is, look, I have nothing. I want the league to succeed as wildly as it can. Go right ahead. I have nothing against anybody wanting to succeed, make money, and have a sport. But the people out there, and a lot of this is clickbait right now, that are claiming that there are those who follow the WNBA that say, thanks to Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, the WNBA is going to be bigger than the NFL in 5 years. Oh, bullshit. Stop.
I'm sorry, who says that? Now, and what are
Stop.
they smoking? You want some?
Again, I'm saying I've seen it on, and it's probably just another one of these idiots on social media. I don't know if anybody relevant or official is even saying it, but there are some people who follow the WNBA, big fans, who say that it could be bigger than the NFL in 5 years. It's not going to happen. And why do you want to be bigger? Just be what you are, right?
Agree.
I mean, be what you are.
I will say this. I'll say this about the WNBA. You did it right on opening day. I saw the promo last night during the Celtics game. Liberty Aces game 1, and then Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark in game 2. On opening day, whatever it is, Saturday or Sunday, I can't remember, you have your two biggest teams, the teams that met for the title, I think the last 2 years, and then you have the two biggest stars in the second game, the younger stars.
You got it
right.
It right.
You got it right. Congratulations. It's not rocket science either.
And
but you did it
right. When it comes down to the WNBA, I had this conversation a little bit with Mike last week. We can have it another time whatsoever. I still can look at players like Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark and Breckers, and I could look at them and say they are better at the basics of basketball than a whole lot of guys playing in the NBA. The absolute basics of playing the game, offense and defense, I think they're better. Could they play in the NBA? Physically, no. They could. I don't know if they could handle the punishment that's in the NBA. But I think we're going to get to that, Kev. I think sooner or later, as the game grows, you're going to have an NBA team that's going to take a chance, and they're going to bring in a really good female player and see if she can play guard, whatever. I don't know. But if it happens, mazel tov. Good for them.
Female coach comes first.
Female coach comes first.
Yeah, Becky Hammond coaching someday comes first.
I agree with that. Before we get out of here, I just wanted to point this out. This is the 61st anniversary of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. 61 years they have been doing this.
Good Lord.
I gave up my SI subscription a long time ago because the writing was awful. The website was terrible. They weren't really giving me anything that the old SI used to. And I still have a bunch of my swimsuit issues.
Damn straight.
Hold
on. This is the 61st anniversary?
61st.
Do math. When was Kathy Ireland on the 25th anniversary cover?
So for 61, we're looking now at this. It would be probably she was in the 70s.
70s? Oh, no. So, okay, then it wasn't. Maybe it was the 50th. Because Kathy Ireland, maybe it was the 40th or 30th. Kathy Ireland is one of my most, I'm about to break down the covers of the swimsuit issue here. Kathy Ireland, I believe, or Elle McPherson.
She's not in the new issue, dude.
I know. They were on the cover of one of the anniversary issues. And it was probably the moment when I looked at it was that moment where, you know how the baby, you've seen the reels of the TikToks when the baby's in Hooters, and it was that moment.
Yeah.
The baby realized, I got this in the mail, and it was at that moment I realized, yep, that's for me. That's what I'm going after in life.
Well, in my generation, it was also Christy Brinkley.
Christy Brinkley, yes, you had Brinkley. There was another one.
Absolutely amazing. Paulina Poroskova.
Yes, Paulina
Poroskova, who was married to Rick Ocasek of the Cars.
Okay. I had Elle McPherson and Kathy Ireland.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Are we really doing the breakdown? We're really doing the breakdown here, baby?
I just love it how it's here we are, and the new issue is out. It used to make huge headlines when the SI swimsuit issue came out.
Yes,
I didn't even know it until I just happened to waltz across the SI website today, just looking for some other stuff. Oh, 65th.
61.
This thing used to be huge news. Now it's not even huge news because, again, people like us who like it, we're just dinosaurs and we shouldn't do it because it's exploitative. So,
can I tell you the job I interviewed for last week? A guy asked me a question. I'll just leave you go with this. A guy asked me the question about. He said, "What do you think the biggest problem with today's generation of young people who get in the media industry is?" I said they have no news judgment and they have no sense of urgency. And someone else,
both of those are fair.
Someone else actually says to me, asked the guy, says, "Hey man, what do you think?" And I have no idea who this guy is who asked the question. And he says, "Kevin nailed it, especially on the urgency side. They have no urgency." So I go sit down with someone later. I said, and he says, "Do you know who that was?" I said, "No." He said, "It's the former senior managing editor of Sports Illustrated who asked you that question." So there's the tie-in, and he told me, "Yep." He said he left that job at Sports Illustrated because he's like, "I'm done," and then he went to a team.
You know, I still there's like a pang of I feel terrible. I mean, I had boxes of SIs, and I kept some of the older ones because these were the older ones from like early 70s. I kept the swimsuit issues. There's a couple of others I kept. I got rid of them, and this goes back 3 years.
Yeah,
maybe 4 years. I threw them all out. Nobody wanted them. I tried to get people to say, "Look, does anybody want?" Nobody wanted them. No library wanted them. Nothing. So I just got rid of them, and I hated myself. But then again, what am I going to do? Go back and read them all again? I would, and I'll say, if SI, by the way, if anybody from SI is ever listening or watching this, if you became as good as you once were, I'll come back as a subscriber.
Right.
But it's not going to happen. And oh yeah, by the way, asking people, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to go out and find Polar Seltzer Water, the best tasting seltzer water in America today, the one that the redhead drinks. And oh yeah, to the people at Polar, we're waiting. Call me. It's okay. We'll cut you a good deal. We'll get you a whole segment. And I'll go ahead and I'll do this every single show just so that people know.
Hey, Coors Light, the senior redhead drinks the Polar. The younger redhead drinks the Coors Light.
Well, okay. As much as I can't stand Coors Light if they come up and write the check.
I love it. Don't break the advertisers that way.
Coors Light sucks. Oh my God. It's one of the
Coors Light. I love you.
When you and I get together, we're going to go someplace and we're going to go out and find some craft beers. And we're going to find. And wait a minute, stop! Don't knock it. Have you ever tried them?
Yes, I hate them.
But what do you hate? They're good.
They're not for me. No, they're not for me.
We're going to go out and we're going to have a beer tasting one day where we're just going to go out and start looking at some of these beers, and we're going to bring your tastes into the adult world.
No, stop it! I'm a Toys R Us kid. Leave me alone.
I'm a Toys R Us kid too, but we still got to got to bring you. You're a grown man now.
2 years shy of 50. 3 years shy of 50. Woo!
You're a grown man. Let's bring your tastes into the grown. Hey, at least I'm not saying that I'm going to get you into red wine.
Oh, I love red wine. I absolutely love red wine. I know. I love red wine. And I'm so weird, aren't I?
Wait a minute here.
Yeah.
You like red wine and Coors Light? You can't do that.
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. I love red wine and Coors Light.
But you can't do that. That's like saying. You
want to know why you want to know why I do it? Because people like you say you can't. Bullshit. I do what I want.
It's like being Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and going for a swim in a creek that's filled with human effluent, and then go, "Oh, I think I'll have the fine champagne over here." It's just you just can't do it, man. It's wrong. Yeah. It's wrong.
No, I do.
And on that note, don't forget you can watch us on the YouTube channel at The Fastest Show in Sports. You catch us on all the podcast platforms on audio. Please, if you stuck around this long, subscribe. You've been seeing it on the lower third all day on the ticker. Please subscribe and be part of this. We'll be back next week because we're off this Friday because I'm gone this Friday, and if I'm not here, nobody can run the show.
Okay.
So there you go.
Okay. Thanks for telling me.
Well, yeah. See, that's okay. I put it in an email to you 2 days ago, and you still don't need your goddamn emails.
No.
Read them.
We'll get there.
Read them. Be an adult. He's Kevin Winter. I'm Ed Berliner. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Till we meet again. Rock on, true believers. See ya.
That's all, folks.